gentlemen, it is June the 29th, and we have a pretty much best of deals on the Steam Summer Sale. So rather than going through every single one of these games, instead I'm going to be rather selective in case you've basically missed out on a lot of them. And if you need more information, like in depth, I have done Steam Summer Sales on pretty much all of the days, so if you need more information regarding a specific title, then you could check that out. This is more going to be going through what I consider to be the best in terms of their prices, and whether I think the game's worth it. So we're just going to be blasting through this quickly, because obviously time is of the essence. I don't want to make this video like 45 minutes long. And so let us begin. So I think the best one to start with would be, well, why not The Wolf Among Us? So it's actually a really good price. It's $6.45 if you're paying in pounds or $8.49 in US dollars. I don't see it becoming much cheaper than that. If you love, say, The Walking Dead and story-driven point and clicks or story-driven games in general, definitely well worth picking up. Tomb Raider, for the price, $4.99, that's US dollars, that's 75% off. Definitely well worth it, especially with the next one on its way. The PC version pretty much is the best. It's even slightly better than the definitive edition on the consoles. Dishonored, for the price, 75% off, $4.99. You can also pick up the DLCs as well, which are pretty damn cheap. Well worth picking up, in my personal opinion. Excellent game, great storyline, great lore and world. Saints Row 4, I don't think it's going to be going much cheaper than that. That's why I recommend it. Personally, I wasn't a huge fan of the game, but I do realise that a lot of people do love it. And so, being objective rather than personal opinions, this is definitely a good buy. The Witcher 2, Assassins of Kings, Enhanced Edition, for the price, which is $3.99, this is US dollars, 80% off. It's not going to be going much cheaper than that. Personally, I would recommend that you do play the first one, well, first, but with the next one kind of coming out at some point, you might want to at least get a taste of the Witcher universe, and this is a great place to start. Borderlands 2, 75% off. Not really much to say on this one. Excellent deal, lots of gameplay. There is lots of DLC for this one as well. But even if you just want to start out with the base game, this is a pretty good place to start. Metro, the complete editions, I'd recommend not buying. They're fantastic games, but Redux is coming out fairly soon for the PC. And quite honestly speaking, there are so many games here. If you've not completed Metros before, what I'd personally recommend, just wait for the Redux, then just play it like that. They are going to be released at a reduced price anyway, and even if you want to wait on the sales, for example, autumn sales or Christmas sales, it's just a better option. Fallout New Vegas Ultimate Edition, 66% off, $6.79. Pretty damn good price if you've somehow missed out on Fallout series. I actually think, in my personal opinion, New Vegas isn't quite as good as Fallout 3, but I think it does have some elements which are slightly better. For the price, it's not really that difficult to recommend. Bioshock Infinite, $7.49. There's also tons of DLC available for this one as well, both of which are pretty important to play, in my personal opinion, for the storyline. Definitely worth picking up for 75% off. Batman Arkham Origins, 75% off, $7.49. I'm going to say that this is definitely the weakest out of the Arkham games. Personally speaking, I haven't actually completed this one yet. I did complete the first two, but I felt that the storyline and gameplay just weren't quite as tight as the other two. So it's not that it's a bad game, I just don't feel it was quite as good. Dark Souls Prepare to Die Edition. The PC version without mods is pretty dire, but modded, it's definitely worth picking up, in my personal opinion. It's pretty easy to mod it and fix it. You just get Dark Souls fixed for the price. I would personally recommend playing this before Dark Souls 2, just so you've got an idea of the storyline and so on. Rome Total War 2, I would personally leave right now unless you really are interested in RTS, because for right now there are a lot of bugs and stuff. I don't know if some of them have been fixed, but even so, there are a lot of RTSs out there. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. I'm 50-50 whether to recommend this one, to be honest. For $14.99, it's not a bad price, but I personally wasn't really interested in this one because I'm more of a Metal Gear Solid fan for the Metal Gear Solid gameplay. Having said that, if you're interested in like DMC type of combat, you could possibly be interested in this. Up to you. South Park Stick of Truth, it's a good game, honestly, but the price reduction isn't that great. So if you don't mind coughing up and you really want to play it, get it. Otherwise, leave it. And the same thing, by the way, goes for Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. PC version of this is really nice, particularly if you're using NVIDIA physics. Terraria, great game. It's had a recent update, but it's been, well, on sale pretty much every single day since the history of time. Far Cry 3, well worth picking up. In case you haven't completed it right now, there's a couple of different endings, multiple different ways you could play through the game. Blah, blah, blah. 75% off, $7.49, well worth it. I don't think it's going to be going much cheaper anytime soon. The Stanley Parable, it's not the best price. I think I have seen it a little bit cheaper than this, but it's well worth picking up if you're interested in a game that's a lot different. XCOM Enemy Unknown, great price for the game, at least in my personal opinion. That's 83% off. I don't see it going much cheaper than that. GTA, that's all of the GTAs, 70% off, $8.99. Great price. The Walking Dead Season 2, 50% off, $12.49. I don't see it going much cheaper than that anytime soon. So, good price in my personal opinion. Same thing for Skyrim, 75% off, $4.99. Definitely worth picking up. Dragon Age Origins, 75% off again, $7.49. Don't see it going much cheaper than that in any time soon. It's definitely a lot better than number 2, at least in my personal opinion. Pick it up. And finally, we're going to finish off with Brothers. There's not much to say about this one. Every single person in the history of the universe recommends this game. And personally, I'm not going to go against the grain. Definitely well worth picking up and playing. It is an experience. The only thing is you will need a controller. Now, is that to say that the games I haven't mentioned, for example, Payday 2, or Armour, or Kerbal, does that mean that they're bad games? No. They are really good titles, but they are facing a lot of stiff competition here. That's not to say that any of the games here are bad. Personally speaking, if you've missed out on a deal, for example, let's say you haven't picked up Civilization 5, which is, by the way, a really good game in and of itself, and I'd recommend that, for example. If you've missed out on a deal and you're like, you know what, I want to pick this up, you're not going to do badly. You could pretty much just throw a dart at any of these games, maybe with the exception of a couple of them, which I personally they personally don't appeal to me. For example, Extreme Legends and Wasteland 2 just don't appeal to me. Are they bad games? Probably not, but they just aren't interesting to me. But you could literally just throw a dart by a game, assuming you don't own it, and you'd probably have a relatively good time. It's just that I feel that these games, the ones that I've mentioned specifically, are excellent prices for a lot of gameplay. And that's pretty much what we're going down for here. In other words, a lot of gameplay for the lowest price. So if you're basically just trying to be doing bargain hunting type of options, like for example, if you were to pick up, just quickly here, this is just a pure example, if you were to pick up Tomb Raider, which is $4.99, these are dollar prices. You'd pick up Tomb Raider, The Witcher 2, Fallout. Let's say you were to pick up on top of that Far Cry, and let's say Brothers, and you were to say pick up BioShock at the same time, and that's just a few examples of games. You know, you could easily pick up a great smattering of those games for $20, $30, maybe even $40 if you wanted to go a little bit more crazy and maybe add in a couple of more expensive games, and then you'd have so much gameplay. So, for example, Fallout alone would last you, you know, a minimum of like 30 to 40 hours if you're playing really properly. You've got Tomb Raider as well, which is going to last you ages. The Witcher 2 is going to last you bloody ages. So you can see where I'm coming from this. In other words, you've got like a lot of gameplay there for a minimum amount of cash. Anyway, as I said, if you need more specific information regarding a particular game, you can go ahead and check out my previous Steam sale. So, or you could check out maybe a first impressions on the channel, or you just do a Google for a review. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed the videos, and happy shopping, people. Bye for now.